Anyone's listening on Facebook, it's a bit better quality on YouTube because it's right here, it's up in my face, and I share the screen so you can read along. So if you ever want to check it on YouTube, the reason I'm putting them there, and also you can go back easier, and they're in playlists. So that's one thing. But we already did Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What's that mean?
I have to know reasons to the personality of God.
Very good.
What the context of this verse? The verse you're reading right now?
That's going to be hard. Go to Narad Muni. Narad Muni is the best. Or you can do
Yeah, which verse that we are on right now?
27.
What is the meaning of that verse?
27 is
He began chanting the holy name in fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remember the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. So very good. So let's do our 3 verses. We're going to change the order, break it up a little bit. Ryan, I could share on this screen. So, oh my God, everyone on the screen is seeing my fat roll. That's why I'm putting that for everyone. So very good.
Nam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato
Respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Very good, Srimad
Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
By regular attendance in the classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and the loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Okay. Alright, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Okay, so what we're going to do is all together we'll chant the first verse. Evam Krishnamate Brahman Nasaktasyamalatmanaha Kala Pradura Bhut Kale Taditso Damaniyatha Evam, thus, Krishnamate, one who is fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna. Brahman, O Vyasadeva, not Ashaktasya, of one who is attached. Amala Atmana, of one who is completely free from all material dirt. Kalaha, death. Pradurabhu, become visible. Kale, in the course of time. Tadi, lightning. Sodamani, illuminating. Yatha, as it is. Translation. And so, O Brahman Vyasadeva, in due course of time, I who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material taints, met with death as lightning and as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. To be fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna means clearance of material dirts or hankerings. As a very rich man has no hankerings for small petty things, so also a devotee of Lord Krishna, who is guaranteed to pass on to the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, fully cognizant and blissful, naturally has no hankerings for petty material things, which are like dolls or shadows of the reality and are without permanent value. That is the sign of spiritually enriched persons. And in due course of time, when a pure devotee is completely prepared, all of a sudden a change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning, and illumination follows simultaneously. That is to say, a devotee simultaneously changes his material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection, due to his body's being spiritualized like a red-hot iron in contact with fire. So, and for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning and illumination follows simultaneously. So when ordinary people die, they actually, it's a very unfortunate situation for them. They can't stop it. But when a devotee dies, it's like very auspicious. Like just how lightning and illumination follow. When a death of the body comes, the devotee, or actually no, when the spiritualization of the devotee comes, that's when they die. Krishna will arrange it for them to die. So when they become inwardly fully spiritual, it's called the Siddha Deha, when you have a fully spiritual body from within, then Krishna will remove the material covering because it's no longer useful. So this actually happened to Narada Muni. Just to give us a backtrack of where we're coming from, the Lord had given Narada hope that, well, first a little bit of lack of hope that you won't achieve me again in this lifetime. But he assured him that this is for your ultimate benefit, and this is so that you can attain firm and fixed intelligence in me, to create like a separation. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to give this mood of love and separation. It's called Vipralamba. And actually, like the devotee feels like a transcendental pain because this world is so dissatisfying for the devotee. And that ultimately, the devotee just wants to attain the Lord and be in service to the Lord. And so, he will naturally more and more hanker for the Lord. And he'll actually develop these transcendental emotions, these sattvic bhavs. We talked about them. Narada was exhibiting these symptoms. Or he or she will develop these. And then eventually, as lightning and illumination, when the devotee fully has burned away any type of material hankering and they become completely spiritualized, then Krishna will take them on to the next journey. Just like Rishi has been going through a lot of purification since being here. And I've been trying to help him work through a few lessons that I thought were very important, but that also I knew Krishna thought was very important for him. And so just like that, he was working through all these lessons and little by little surrendering more and more. And then boom, change of position. Just like that. And then Krishna was ready. He got a certain few lessons and now he's ready for a change of position. And I noticed actually internally, even before the change of position had come, I noticed internally that Rishi had taken some steps and he changed. And that what was holding him back, he had overcome some of those things. And so, boom, then Krishna now wants him to go over to Buffalo and change of position. And so similarly, when we become so pure that the material world really can't handle us anymore, then the Lord will change our position as well, just like he's changing Narad's position. So that's what death is. It's a change of position. It's not this big fearful thing, oh my God, I don't want to die. No, you have to die. You've died billions upon billions of times before, you probably will die again. At least in this life, you'll most likely die unless you have a really special arrangement with the Lord, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Most likely, you said.
What's that?
There's one certainty. I said most likely die.
Well, it is almost certain, but if the Lord wants to, He doesn't have to make you die. You could be like a citizen of Ayodhya and go right on up, But I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. He made Narada die, at least that one more time. So we'll see. But before we continue, we'll do our prayers. And I'll request the blessings of the Gurus and the Parampara before we take this any further. You know how materially polluted I am when I even thought of it. I just, before we take this any further, I immediately thought of like an old Western song by like a band called Meatloaf. It's like very famous in this country. But anyway, it's just the words go, before you go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever? they don't know what love is. It's all about lust. But still, this is the power of sound. I haven't heard this song in maybe 10 years, but just hearing that like little thing just sparks immediately material things coming up. So it's very important we take this spiritual practice. So these things come up instead. But anyway, before we go any further, let's chant the prayers to the Gurus and the Supreme Lord all together. Om
Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Om Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tasachi Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Manchakalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Other parts in the beginning of the class. It's kind of nice to break it up a little bit, so it's not like all the singing all at once. So anyway, and this is actually how more a traditional Bhagavatam class would go. So thank you, Rishi, for such a nice sight. So, all right. So by service, what was said last? So Krishna really wanted intelligence engaged in his devotion to be imparted into Narada. And then once intelligence and devotion was gained, then Krishna assured him that you'll remember me by my mercy. So he disappeared from Narada. Then Narada began chanting his holy name and fame, and repeatedly all over the world as much as he could. We're trying to do that right now by chanting the Bhagavatam, chanting the names of Krishna in the morning. All of our sadhanas and practices, chanting bhajans, glorifying the intimate servants of Krishna, and prayers to Krishna himself. and so on. Doing deity worship. All these processes that we do here are so that we can actually achieve what Narada achieved, at least. So, in due course of time, he was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and he had no attachments. He was completely freed from all material taints. He met with death as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. There's actually a science to how we can attain this. Actually, have you heard the nectar of instruction? You've heard the Upadeshamrita by Rupa Goswami? Very famous book for Srila Prabhupada. Very small book. Very important instructions, though. The first 3 instructions teaches us how to overcome material attachments, what to do. Controlling the urge to speak. Essentially not speaking about material, fruitless things. Speaking really only of Krishna or self-illumination or, pretty much Krishna consciousness. That's all that's really necessary to speak of. Controlling the urges of anger and the dictations of the mind. The mind will want to pull you all over the place. I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to go here. But controlling the urges of the mind, and ultimately controlling anger, because anger will arise, especially we're very attached, we're very lusty for things, and so as soon as our lust is frustrated, we'll get angry immediately. So we have to control these urges. And then of course the urges of the tongue, which are to speak all kinds of nonsense, but also to taste all kinds of things. The belly, to fill it with all kinds of sumptuous delights and foods and things like this. And then the genitals, which is to, it's obvious what most people use the genitals for. But we have to control these urges. And then there's a few, I'll actually pull them up because these are very important and I think you guys should know these. Little sidetrack. This Upadeshamrita. It's very important. So let me pull it up here. And it's really mostly for me because I need to know them and they're very important. So there's 6 things that you should do and there's 6 things that you shouldn't do. Well, there's actually first 6 things you should not do and then there's 6 things you should do. And then once you do the things you should not do, then you start doing the things you should do instead, and then actually you can control the material hankerings. This is your system. So the things you should not do, which will spoil your devotional service, is become too entangled in the following 6 activities. Eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required. Also, it's atyahara. Atyahara means overeating or too much collecting, but it actually means consumption. Consuming with the mouth, consuming with the ears. Oh, I want to listen to music. Oh, I want to, I want to do this thing. I want to consume entertainment. I want to consume this thing. I want to consume that thing. But anything more than necessary for your survival is a complete waste of time and actually will spoil your bhakti. So all kinds of material things. I want to take so many things. Another one is over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. There's so many mundane things out there, positions, wealth, this special car, this special pair of clothing, this special this or this special that. Anything more than necessary for your basic survival, your basics in life, is again, it will spoil your bhakti. It'll waste your time and it'll waste your consciousness and it'll absorb your consciousness in the exact opposite thing. Talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, the stock market, the Netflix show, the sports match, this thing, that thing, pretty much anything other than Krishna consciousness or full spiritual truth, the absolute truth. It'll spoil your bhakti. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them. So maybe you heard some scriptures and you like that, but you become fanatical about, like, all right, I'm only gonna It's called niyamagraha. I have to do it like this, I have to do it like this, and I have to do it like this. But in the midst of that, you'll break all kinds of other scriptural rules and injunctions trying to follow that one rule. So this is a neophyte stage of getting quite fanatical. This happens a lot with devotees. They start practicing and then they get crazy fanatical over like stupid things that really like are not worth getting so fanatical over. There's an actual system. You should follow under guidance, not on your own whims of how you're interpreting the scriptures. And then the second part of that is rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures, working independently or whimsically, thinking like, all right, well, I don't want to get fanatical now of these scriptures. So I don't need to do anything. I'll just be fine. Whatever I do, the Lord will. No, we should understand the scriptures. We should understand what the Lord wants. And we should make the most balanced judgment that we can, and being able to follow as best we can without sacrificing the most important essences. And usually this has to be done under guidance. 5 is associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. So this is actually, for a man, this is called Stri Sangha. For a woman, a lot of these scriptures weren't necessarily written for women because women weren't practicing so heavily in like this ancient times. But it's very much this same type of sangha is for women as well. For men, it's associating with women, or even worse than associating with women is associating with men who like to associate with women. That's pretty much everyone. Almost everyone, that's what they... this is the very dangerous thing. Why? Because what's wrong with women? Meghna seems very nice. My wife seems very nice. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with these? With this association? The reason this association is very bad is because when you associate with women, this is the most attractive thing in the material world. The most attractive illusion is man to woman and woman to man. This is the most attractive illusion. So the spiritualist actually will try and focus. For a man, he focuses on his man relationships. For a woman, she focuses on her woman relationships. And then, naturally actually, especially for women, it is recommended that they have some sort of protection. And for 99% of men, it is recommended that they want some woman, because the material bondage is too strong. So then you go through the institution of marriage, and there's a gradual way to practice Krishna consciousness in association without taking every material bondage away from, because most of us will just give up if we just, like me personally, I got married for that reason. I was just too much of a lusty person. So I had to get married. There was really no other option for me. But many of us are like this. Not a lot of people know this. At the end of Srila Prabhupada's tenure, he was finding a lot of difficulty. He had given his disciples sannyas, which was like complete rejection of all material things, all material relationships. A sannyas takes no association with women. At least they're supposed to. Now you see that that's not always happening, and that it is a red flag. But a sannyas should not take association with women, or very much. Basics are there, and similarly, a woman, other than her husband, or actually the guru figure, should not be taking so much. A serious spiritual practicing woman should not be taking so much association with men. It's not other than basics, like, all right, we all, you might be doing a service and a man is there, all right, serve alongside the men, no problem, but intimate association. Let's hang out on the weekends. Let's do this thing. Let's do that thing. Let's do this thing together. This is actually really, really detrimental to our bhakti. Actually, it's so detrimental that it's again mentioned again in the things you should do, and I'll get to that. And the last is being greedy for mundane achievements. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he mentions in this last one, Lolyam, that also being greedy for other philosophies. You have a system, you see a system works, like for instance, Krishna's and Srila Prabhupada's bhakti system, it works. It's a guarantee. If you follow the process, you get the results. I'm seeing that I don't even do even close to pure bhakti, and I'm just seeing all of the results are coming to me of just having like a little bit of semblance of bhakti, and I've seen it now with, especially I'm seeing it with all of you happening, but I just saw it more with rishis recently, a lot of the steps he was taking, and I saw how Krishna had revealed the next layers of his service. So you see how it works. But what we could actually, what happens is, because we're greedy for other desires, we're trying to take things from other philosophies too. So you see this a lot of times. People want to blend, or things like this. I'm not trying to criticize, but I've seen, in the devotee world, like devotees are taking so many things from other practices and things like that, and and philosophies, and it's fine to some degree. But if you really want to make a lot of advancement in bhakti, we want to just follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, and that's one of the things to do in the next verse. So this is this is the next verse. So these are the 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. And I get it. Maybe some of you don't want to be pure devotees. You should want to be a pure devotee, because anything else is, you'll not taste any good result. You'll be like a bee who's on the outside of a bottle of honey, and you're attracted to the honey. You're, all right, let me associate with the honey. The devotees have the honey, but you just want to be the bee on the outside, not actually relishing the honey. So this is, I'll politely say, that's very dumb. It's very dumb to be a bee wanting to experience honey. Everyone's looking for pleasure, bliss, right? Who here is not looking for bliss?
Everyone looking for bliss.
Yes, it's obvious. Everyone is seeking pleasure. And, some of you might know where pleasure is. Most of you do know that pleasure is in divine connection with the Supreme. It's called Hladini Shakti, the bliss Shakti. But still, for whatever reason, for many reasons, all of the 6 reasons I mentioned previously, things that are blocking us, we are on the outside looking in. So these are the things we have to do instead. One, we have to be enthusiastic, utsaha. We have to be enthusiastic in devotional service. Our devotional life, we have to be very enthusiastic to do seva, very, very enthusiastic to chant, get up in the morning, do your bhajans, come on time. That'd be nice too. I should do it too. It's a little hard. Luckily, with the sun rising later, the Brahma Muhurta, the auspicious timing, is getting a little later too, so you get a little break from the Lord. But still, we should be enthusiastic with our devotional life. 2, we should endeavor with confidence, and we should be determined. This is nishchaya. I was talking about this with Meghna yesterday. I think one of the hooks that we got her to get here today is, I was like, because I was actually reading about this, why I'm bringing this up. I was reading about this yesterday. It was just that, she was telling, she wanted to, come and, give more to Krishna during Kartik. And, and I was like, well, do you want to? And she was like, well, I think everyone wants to. And I was like, no, everyone definitely does not want to. But do you want to? That's nischaya, to be determined, to go forward with confidence. Like, I know this is going to give me results. I'm going to go for this, And then 3, dharya, being patient. It's a process. It is not going to happen overnight. We're so conditioned We have these phones, click of the button, you can order on Amazon. My tire was gone, go to PriorityTire.com, boom, I got a new tire on my doorstep like a day or two later. Like everything that, we wanted, we're just so accustomed to, give me it now, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. But if you look how nature works, look how beautiful Tulsi Maharani is over there. Magna, yours is getting there. But look how beautiful this Tulsi is. But she started like Magna's little Tulsi over there. And then over time, she blossoms. So similarly, your bhakti is compared to a creeper. And over time, the fruits come. And you don't plant a mango seed, and the next thing you know, oh, where's the mango? The mango takes a lot of time. The mango.
Yes, I think 7 to 14.
Yeah, 7 to 14 years. I didn't even know that. But, it takes a ton of time. But then once it grows into the mango tree and it's producing fruit after fruit after fruit after fruit, that's bhakti. Fruit after fruit after fruit. You'll have an abundance of fruit in your life. But you have to go through the growing stage. You have to start from a sapling. Pour through the dirt. Hit the light. And then go forward and root deeper and deeper and deeper down. It's a process. So then, 4 is you have to act according to the regulative principles. Regular Shravan, Kirtan, Smaranam, what we're doing in the Bhagavatam. Hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. This is also, I think, tat karma. It's the activities favorable for devotional service. Also following, what did the great masters do beforehand? What did the great devotees do? I want to practice like this. And then 5, abandoning the association of non-devotees. This is kind of the same type of principle. The thing not to do was associate with non-devotees. And then the thing to do is to abandon the association of non-devotees. Very important. Because when we are with others, we're just big desiring machines. That's all a living entity is. It desires and then it chases its desires. Even the animals, they have all kinds of desires. What do the big business minds say? If you want to get rich, what do you have to do? It's like the number one thing. No one here ever wanted to get rich? You guys know. What do you do?
Make your desires basic.
No. You associate with rich people.
Oh, okay.
That's what you want to be rich? You associate with rich people. If you want to be smart, what do?
With smart people.
You associate with smart people. So if you want to be devotional, what do? Yeah, you associate with devotees. Not to say that, okay, like I have relatives. I have family duties. But, it's me and my brothers. I love my brothers. I have a nice relationship with my brothers. I have a nice relationship with all my family members. Maybe they're listening. I don't know. But, because we have different interests, it would be horrible for me and it would be horrible for them because I'll just be a buzzkill to all of their material desires. And and they will be a buzzkill to all my spiritual desires. So it's better that we see each other on occasion. So a lot of like friends and, things like that, it's going to be like that. So this is very important if you want to actually make advancement in devotional life. And 6 is follow the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So, sato vrite. Yeah, following in the footsteps. So, these are the things that will undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service, which is where all the fruit is. Don't be like because there's also non-pure devotional service, which Krishna will give you all your material desires, which is more on the platform of offensive bhakti. We should hopefully rise to the stage of repentant bhakti. Like this is actually where Jesus begins his teachings. He doesn't tell people like, oh, just love God and do this. He first says, repent. Repent means change your ways. Be sorrowful for how you've been associating in the world. To realize that you've actually done nothing, you've done a ton of nonsense. Give up your nonsense. Be sorrow. Be repentant for your nonsense. And work towards something good. So these are, I've been reading them, and recently, because I started a new book, and this is the main topic of the book. And it's really nice to go back to the basics. And you see this is so present in the Bhagavatam with Narada, how he had to go through this process in the beginning with the sages. And the sages, they purified him, the Bhaktivedantas. And ultimately, in that, Narada, achieved the highest goal, the highest result. Fruit after fruit of ecstasy was waiting for Narada. Fruit after fruit of ecstasy is waiting for all of you, and me, and my wife, and everyone practicing sincerely. But again, there are texts 2 and 3. Actually, 1, 2, and 3 should be looked at of this Upadeshamrita. It's Prabhupada's little book, Nectar of Instruction. So review that in your life just to get yourself on track. And even in devotional life, in the mixing, like my wife and Meghna and you guys, there's we have to be careful with each other. If me and Meghna are going out on dates to this thing and that thing, that would be very bad. Like this. And similarly, if my wife and Rishi or Sahil or Piyush or Parth, is going on like hangouts with you guys, that's also not a necessary. That's not a good thing. I know, as a husband, I'm like, what the heck is this? But this is actually. Now, that being said, I'm not saying, abandon women forever. There are some devotees who are a little niyamagraha, say, don't talk to a woman, don't, like this. It's, basic things. If your friendships, your main friendships for men, for women. But in the actual, making advancement, there may come a time where you are attracted to the other person. And, marriage is the proper pathway for that. How to do that. In the West and in Kali Yuga, it's getting more and more difficult. Now we have a dating phase. We go through the dating. In the ancient times, they said, oh, yes, the parents made an agreement. And here's my daughter, and here's my son, and very good. In India, this is still pretty present, even though it's working less and less because the consciousness is degrading farther and farther in Kali Yuga. But, there is a pathway. But by and large, as devotees, we have to work towards all of these things. And we can actually make a lot of advancement. Sorry, I kind of shifted Bhagavatam time into this, but I was reading it. I was seeing it with myself, seeing it with me and my wife. And that was also, because I am kind of looking after you guys, even if you don't want me to. I am looking after you guys, all of you. So I thought it might be good to actually share these things with you so that you guys can actually make a lot of advancement. That's the goal, is you guys can make a ton of advancement in this way. So let's do at least one more verse. So he was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and therefore he had no attachments. And being completely freed from all material taints, he met with death. As lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. When he completely became free from material attachment, that's when the spiritual perfection was achieved. Prayujya mane maitam Shudham bhagavatim tanum Arabdha karma nirvano Nyapatat pancha bhotika Prayujyamane, having been awarded, Mai, on me, Tam, that, Shudham, transcendental, Bhagavatim, fit for associating with the personality of Godhead, Tanum, body, Arabdha, acquired, Karma, fruit of work, Nirvana, prohibitive, Nyapatat, quit, Panchabhotika, body made of 5 material elements. Okay, translation. Having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work, karma, stopped. So having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work, karma, stopped. Purport. Informed by the personality of Godhead that he would be awarded a transcendental body befitting the Lord's association, Narada got his spiritual body. As soon as he quit, in mine it's as soon as he quitted, but I think as soon as he quit his material body. This transcendental body is free from material affinity. Affinity, I think means like relationship or attraction, right? Yeah. Let me just, I like to know exactly.
Close.
Yeah,
Affinity means close.
it means liking or attraction. But
Staying close.
it's a close resemblance or connection between two things as well. Or, we all got it right. The next one's a relationship as well. So, that's funny. But yeah, so if as soon as we have a relationship with or a liking, attraction, or we're close with the material energy, but as soon as we're free from these things, like Narada, he gets a spiritual body almost immediately. And he gives it up. And you're ready. At some point, you'll be ready to give up this body. Like you can't imagine, just like it's in the Bhagavatam, it's mentioned that Bharat Maharaj, he had a beautiful wife, he had a beautiful kingdom, he had everything. And he gave that up. Do you know what the analogy that they said he gave it up like?
Like a stool.
Yes, like stool. Like going to the bathroom. How easily we give that up. You know, we're so relieved to give that up. So actually, that's how the advanced devotee sees material things. They're just, advanced devotee. Right now, we love stool. We want to bathe in the stool. We want to smear the stool all over ourselves. But this is actually, we should want to give up these things like stool at some point. But, not easy. And you have to evolve to that level. You have to have realization, to give up these things. Your body, in my journey to health, and I was not always healthy in my life. I used to eat a lot of meat. I used to eat a lot of junk food and all kinds of nonsense. And I used to drink a lot of beer and smoke a lot of intoxications. I used to do so many things. And my body was reflected that. I was like fat and lumpy and like, and I just didn't feel good. I was like red and agitated, and the whole thing was just, in my college years, I was like 20 years old. But over time, I started giving up these things. And actually my body responded. And it starts also, we hold on to so many things in our bodies, parasites and worms and so many things like that. And I remember when I first started like detoxing and things just coming out, like so much nasty, like you'd be shocked what my body was giving up. So similarly, in our spiritual evolution with some realization, we start, we'll give up things that I once, like we were talking about Sri Sangha before. All of my best friends were women growing up. Only women. That was like my all my friend groups. All were women. Why? Because I very much was attracted to women, but ultimately, I found actually it was very disappointing type of relationships for me. Why? Because I always wanted, more with all of my friends who are women, but they're like, no, what is this? We're friends. So naturally, actually, it was a very discouraging period of my life, the most discouraging period of my life. And interestingly enough, it's just funny how it works. When I stopped caring about women so much, because there was an evolution, I realized that like, no, I'm not gonna, put all my time and energy like this. I actually started focusing more on my male friends and things like that. Naturally, like then the women were knocking more readily than they ever were before, and I said, oh my God. And then that was a whole nother, there were more problems in that way. But basically, it was good. I eventually found a wife, you know, and for you guys, it will also be um, very very likely. Almost all will get married. It's very likely. Marriage is the way. And like I was mentioning, that Prabhupada actually at the end of his life, now the I don't know if the institution followed suit with this instruction, but he wanted his disciples to get married, especially his Western disciples, because um, yeah, they couldn't uphold these very strict principles that of what it means to be someone like Narada Muni. So a gradual process was better for them. So never feel ashamed, for going through the process of grahastha or marriage. It's a more attainable path actually for most.
Usually, now I've seen that many of them are not given sannyas. They are like, even if they want to stay in the ashram, Maharaj, Radhanand Swami Maharaj, or many other gurus I've seen, they usually keep them in the brahmachari ashram, so that
Mm.
even if you have something, you can get into a grahastha.
Yes,
So they usually stay like Naishtiki brahmachari for many years, like
yes,
for like 40, 50, like till the age of 50 or something like that.
yes,
Until at that time, if they don't feel okay, this is something that I will carry for next 10, 15 years at least, because I'm old now. So then
yes.
at that time, usually they are given sannyas. But I've seen many of them staying brahmachari. So even if they feel,
Yes,
there's always
yes.
a way.
Yes. So it's and it's good that this is actually being done. But for most of us, I mean, brahmachari itself, to be a brahmachari is such a rigorous actual path. I mean, you should learn a lot of these brahmachari principles, and we just mentioned a lot of them right there. And actually, grahasthas are supposed to become like brahmacharis as well, with the one exception is you associate with your wife. And that's that's the spiritual path, but it gives you an outlet to that material attraction is there. Okay, there's a healthy dynamic on how to do that in a marriage actually. So anyway, let me finish this paragraph and then we'll finish for today. The transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with three primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, which is what? It's like sat, freedom from material modes, and freedom from reactions of fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with the lack of these three qualities. So freedom from material modes, like the modes of nature, and not acting on it in the transcendental body, and the freedom from any reactions or karmas of the fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with the lack of these three qualities. A devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with the transcendental qualities as soon as he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. It acts like the magnetic influence of a touchstone upon iron. The influence of transcendental devotional service is like that. Therefore, change of the body means stoppage of the reaction of three qualitative modes of material nature upon the pure devotee. There are many instances of this in the revealed scriptures. Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and many other devotees were able to see the personality of Godhead face to face, apparently in the same body. This means that the quality of a devotee's body changes from material to transcendence. That is the opinion of the authorized Goswamis via the authentic scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that beginning from the Indra Gopa, germ, up to the great Indra, king of heaven, all living beings are subjected to the law of karma and are bound to suffer and enjoy the fruitive results of their own work. Only the devotee is exempt from such reactions by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Authority, the personality of Godhead. So this is our process, and this is our fruit that will actually be free from the material fruits. And what are the material fruits? What is karma? It's our actions, and which causes what?
Attachment with actions and results, basically, that's karma.
Well, it's actually action. The attachment isn't so much relevant, but it's your actions will give a reaction. no matter what in the material world. So even if you're not attached, if you are detached from it, that's actually quite wonderful. That's what the path of jnana is. Actually, that's practicing karma yoga, offering your karma, your works to the Supreme. And then eventually, similarly, bhakti yoga, finding out what pleases the Lord and then doing those activities out of love and affection. But it takes time. So, but the devotee will be free from all karma. Krishna promises this at the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Just surrender unto me, and I will abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Abandon all dharma, just surrender unto me, and I will deliver you from the reactions of all sins, all sinful reactions. He will deliver. So similarly, our bodies are composed of so many sinful reactions. I think yesterday Piyush was telling me that he had something going on with his body in one place. I have so many things going on with my body. My fingers splitting open; they're always getting dry. I was born with my feet don't work properly compared to other people's feet normally. We all have different karmas. Reactions. We were born in certain families that have generational karmas. We're all born with so many different things, and it continues as long as we have a body. But as soon as we transcend the body, at some point and through the process of devotional service, eventually we'll give it up, like Bharat Maharaj, wanted to give up this thing. And we'll also give up the body in the grand. What most will be a very fearful time for the conditioned living entities, and death will be the most glorious time for the devotee. So this is very exciting, actually. Death is the most feared thing that nobody wants to go through in the whole material world. But for the devotee, it's the ultimate time to celebrate. Not that you rush it. Oh, I'm going to jump off a bridge chanting Hare Krishna tomorrow. No, because if what's actually likely is that you're not so pure and not actually ready to give up material consciousness, and then you'll just kill your body and then have to get into another material body. So better you do it naturally and you spiritualize in this lifetime, in this body, and then the Lord will arrange giving it up like he did Narada. So this is our class. Sorry we went long today. I just wanted to share a few things. Because it helps me study. And then, actually attain what I'm learning. So I don't just read and then just skip through it. I want to actually absorb it a little bit. And then also for you guys, I think it'll be really relevant. So please excuse any offenses I may have made. I try not to do that, but I'm all kinds of conditioned to do that. So anyway, Hare Krishna, thank you guys so much. And
there's also this analogy given to the death of a devotee, just like I don't know if it's tiger or cat, but both are in the same species. So it's like tiger catching a prey with his teeth or mouth, and tiger carrying the cubs in his mouth from one place to another. So teeth remain the same, but they are different for both of them. So,
yes.
So for the non-devotee or people who are into karmic reactions, death is fearful, and they suffer because of that.
Yeah.
But for the devotee, it's very soft and it carries you from one place to another.
Yes, just to help you rephrase that, that a tiger. I don't know if anyone understood. Maybe everyone did, but I don't know if online everyone understood. A tiger is so fearful. And if you're an enemy of a tiger, you're in trouble. So if you're an enemy of the Lord, you're in trouble with death. We're all we have inimical consciousness to the Lord. We're we actually are envious of anything to do with the Lord, and we want nothing to do with the Lord. That's the conditioned state that we're all starting in this material world. So a tiger is very fearful in the form of death. But when you're an associate of the Lord or an associate of the tiger, like the kitten, the tiger's same teeth that he'll use to rip you apart, he'll take you the little kitten and he'll carry the kitten to a very nice arrangement. What's it? Oh, I was like, Piyush. So, like Nrsimhadev up there, you know. Yeah, he destroyed all the demons, but he was so friendly to Prahlad. So this is our, this is the process, you know. We let's become friends with death. Let's become friends with the Lord, and then what everyone else is fearing will carry us into a glorious situation. So thank you for sharing, Rishi.